Kathy Cairo and the Kathy Cairo Group of Keller Williams Greater Columbus present DownSize Columbus. Downsizing is a big move with a lot of decisions: legal, financial, medical, residential, and emotional. And of course, what am I going to do with all my stuff? Welcome to DownSize Columbus.
Yes, welcome to all of you. I'm Kathy Cairo with Keller Williams Greater Columbus, and you are tuning in to Downsize Columbus. What excites me about today's event is we know that so many of you are brand new to the Downsize Columbus family. I've been presenting Downsize Columbus as a live event in Central Ohio since 2013. And in those 7 years, we have hosted thousands of Central Ohio homeowners at our live events held in venues around Central Ohio. We hope to get back to those live events in 2021, but until then, we're thrilled that you're here with us virtually. We are here to bring you very important information about a transition many of you are facing. I'm hoping you signed on today because you are looking ahead to downsize and recognize that downsizing is tough. It's not an easy transition, and it is a big move that is broken down to a lot of small pieces. So we have broken down those pieces today for Downsize Columbus, and we're going to have great Central Ohio experts here to talk to you, give you real valuable information so that you can learn and walk away from today's seminar feeling a little bit more comfortable with the decisions and the transition that you're facing. I want you to stick around to the end of the program. We're probably going to take about an hour, maybe a little bit more, but at the very end of the program, our guests on today's program have donated over $3,000 in door prizes that if you're here with us to the end, you are entered into a random drawing to win some of those door prizes. We'll tell you what they are as we move through today's program, and we hope to see you at the end. Also, if you're watching your screen, right there on the right, you're going to see a chat section. Many of you who have done virtual or Zoom seminars or things, as we've done for several months now in Central Ohio, are familiar with this. You do have to go in, you have to put your name and click and say that it's okay for us to see your questions. Then throughout the event, if you have questions for any of our speakers or want more information, we're going to encourage you to do that. And we'll make sure your question gets to the expert that you are asking to, and we'll make sure they get it and get back directly to you. Just make sure you put your name in there, what the question is, and how we can reach you. I want to take a moment and thank the corporate sponsors of today's program. Anne-Marie Steeman is with us, and she's with Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. Mutual of Omaha Mortgage is our nation's top provider of the home equity conversion mortgage. We call it the HECM. It doubles your purchase power, which those of you who've been looking at the price of homes in Central Ohio know that that's a challenge for a lot of us. Anne-Marie is here to give you more information on that loan. Also, we are proud to have Corey Sickles with us today. Many of you in Central Ohio are familiar with Corey and his company, Safe Harbor Retirement Group. He's going to be giving you a lot of financial hints as you get through your transition into retirement. But I want to start with a video just to kind of show you what Downsize Columbus is for. And I want you to know as you watch this video that there's a large group of people who are in the same retirement boat you are. And this information that we're going to provide today is hopefully very valuable to you. Watch this.
Ken and Nan are in their 60s. They've enjoyed a full life of 2 jobs, 3 children, and a dog. They are nearing retirement, their children are grown, and the family home they've owned since 1978 is, well, big. It's full of memories and overflowing with stuff. It's too much. Ken and Nan know they need to downsize, but where do they start? The big downsize decision is really a lot of little decisions. Where do I go? How much will it cost? Are our finances in order? Can we afford what and where we want to live in retirement? Have we made the right decision in regard to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? Who should be responsible to assist us with legal affairs as we age? The house is both a loved home and a looming problem. As much as Ken and Nan cherish the memories, it's just too much to care for, and it's increasingly unsafe. A routine trip up the ladder to clean the gutters almost caused Ken a serious accident. Nan knows that taking the laundry basket up and down the stairs is just inviting a fall. The biggest challenge of all, what are we going to do with decades of accumulated stuff? Ken and Nan thought their kids would want their heirloom furniture, but the kids say no, not their taste and style. Can we sell it? What charitable organizations will come get it? Are there places that our household items can be reused and enjoyed by another family? Is there anyone to help us clear out, lift, and organize? The decisions are overwhelming, and the result is paralyzing. Ken and Nan know they need to start somewhere, but just don't know where, and they aren't sure they can do it alone. Their kids love them, but live in different states. Their daughter, who lives close by, helps them when she can, but is busy with her own family. The emotional stress is great. Ken and Nan don't want to leave what's comfortable. They don't want to walk away from the life they've loved. They don't feel old, but recognize that they need to make these decisions while they can. They know that if they aren't proactive, a medical crisis may make emergency decision-making a reality, or worse, their kids may have to clean up and clean out the house when they're gone. The Kathy Cairo Group of Keller Williams Greater Columbus recognizes the challenges and has answers and resources. The DownSize Columbus seminar was created to help Ken and Nan and the thousands of downsizing homeowners like them. Selling hundreds of homes a year, the Kathy Cairo Group is your transition consultant. Ken and Nan called the Kathy Cairo Group. Kathy Cairo Group Realtors have networked a large group of Central Ohio service providers, all of whom have the downsizer in mind: legal, emotional, residential, financial, and medical, to meet Ken and Nan's need. Ken and Nan attended DownSize Columbus and met the Downsize Partners. Downsize Partners have local trusted reputations and recognize the challenge, opportunity, and pitfalls of maneuvering through the downsize transition. Ken and Nan scheduled an appointment with a member of the Kathy Cairo Group. Their Kathy Cairo Group Realtor listened closely. Their timing and needs were identified and resources and help provided. When they were ready, Ken and Nan met with the Kathy Cairo Group Realtor, who gave them the current value of their home, detailed the cost of selling, and helped determine the best timing for their sale based on their life schedule and needs. They found a beautiful condo community and a new home that fit their lifestyle perfectly. Ken and Nan now realize that they aren't alone in their feelings of being overwhelmed. But by getting started while they are healthy enough to guide the process, they discovered that the future was bright. Today, they enjoy a simpler, stress-free lifestyle of new friends and time for hobbies and each other. Their kids no longer worry about them and enjoy visits with mom and dad at their new home. Ready for your downsize? Contact the Kathy Cairo Group at www.ourohiohome.com to arrange your in-home consultation. You can find and register for upcoming DownSize Columbus events by going to www.downsizecolumbus.com. These simple contacts are the first steps to your next chapter in fulfilling your life.
You've got downsizing questions. We've got experts and the answers. Coming up next, residential.
So I hope that video convinced you you're not alone. In fact, over 19,000 Americans today, each day are turning over 55 in the United States, and a bunch of them right here in Columbus. I know because I've been in your homes. And so what we find is when we're finding and meeting with you, and you know that this move, I don't like to call it the last move, it sounds very fatal, but this move that you're going to, we know that in your mind, it's the last time you are going to move. And in that process, it's an entirely different move from when you were moving up the ladder. Remember when you were getting a bigger house because you had more kids, or you were moving to a different school system, or you got a job promotion, so you were moving up that ladder. Well, it's extremely difficult to move down that ladder and to go smaller and to go into a lifestyle that hasn't been familiar to you for a long, long time. So the first category we're going to talk about is the residential category of downsizing. And I'm going to speak to, obviously, the sale of your home. I've been a realtor for almost 25 years in Central Ohio, and in that quarter of a century, boy, that makes me feel old, but in that quarter of a century, there's two things going on right now in Central Ohio that I've never seen before. Number one, interest rates at 3% or below have caused a number of buyers, hundreds of buyers, to go out to buy homes, which is a wonderful thing. However, the partner to that is we have very low supply of homes in Central Ohio. We should have 15,000 homes on the market here in Central Ohio. In our MLS system, which includes Franklin County as well as all adjacent counties, we should have 13 to 15,000 homes on the market. During the recession, that number went up to 30,000 homes on the market, and many of you lived through that and possibly even made decisions not to sell your home during that period, because in Central Ohio, we saw those values going down. Well, since 2013, that has flipped. As of today, we have less than 3,000 homes on the market. So that combination of low interest rates and low inventory has done what? It has made it a hyper seller's market. No surprise to a lot of you. Let's talk a little bit about that. In the nation. So what does that mean? What does a hyper seller's market mean? Take a look at that. That means if you were sitting at a poker game, all the chips would be on your side of the table. That means the buyer, and I'll be honest with you, when we sit down with a buyer, preparing them for this market, we tell them, if you want to buy a home in this market, you need to look at the list price, and then the price goes up from there. You need to waive your right to ask for repairs. You need to have solid financing or cash. You need to be willing to go over appraisal value. And if the homeowner needs 2 months in the house, you give it to them. Now, go. You ready to buy a house? So again, all of those poker chips, which are terms in a contract, end up on your side of the table. But those poker chips on your side of the table mean that your home must be priced well. That doesn't mean you can just throw a dart at a dartboard and put a price on it. If your home is priced well, and that's what the Kathy Cairo group and myself were experts at that, you're going to very likely have 10 to 15 buyers for every home. That means when the for sale sign goes out, we automatically have usually 15 to 20 showings on your home on the first day. Negotiations begin at list price and go up. Homes are selling in days, and that's only if we slow it down. Many times we could sell homes in hours. You are going to get premium terms of financing, waiver of home inspection, possibly waiver of appraisal value, and the closing and possession date according to your convenience. Is every neighborhood hot in Central Ohio? No. If you have a high-end home, and my homeowners always ask me, what is a high-end home? High-end home is anything that is $100,000 more than average in your home. And I won't hit every community in Central Ohio, but for example, if you have a home in Gahanna, average price in Gahanna this year is right around $300,000. So anything $400,000, $500,000 up, that's considered high-end. Now you take a community like Dublin, average sale price in Dublin is $560,000. High-end would begin at $600,000, $700,000 and higher. So depending on what the average price in your neighborhood, high-end homes, logically, it makes sense. There aren't as many buyers who can afford those homes. So high-end homes tend to be a pretty even market. In some areas, especially very high-end. If your home is $800,000 or up, you're in a buyer's market. There's simply not enough buyers for those kinds of homes. So if you're in New Albany and Upper Arlington and Dublin, where your home is $1 million or more, you're very likely still dealing with a buyer's market. So what are the steps to ensuring top dollar and best terms for the sale of your home? Number one, don't go it alone. I know it sounds self-serving. I'm a realtor, but I will tell you this. Doing a for sale by owner is what you do in a seller's market. You put a sign out, one buyer walks in, buys your home, and great, you have saved some money. What serves your best interest in a hyper seller's market is not having one offer on your home, but 5 offers on your home. And the only way you generate 5 offers on your home is by listing it with a realtor in the MLS who knows how to price well and knows how to generate that buzz and activity. It's very much like an auction. If I only had one person come to an auction, then I might sell an item, but I don't know that I got the best terms for it. When I sell a house, in a hyper seller's market, your home's going on the market being looked at by 10 or 15 people at once. And if I've priced it right, your home is going to go up in value because of the competing interest to get your home. Don't just go with any realtor. Experience matters. In this market, I told a homeowner I was meeting with yesterday, this market could just as easily flip on you. Here's the bad news of this market. If your home is not sold in 4 days, you have given away the poker chips, they've slid back to the buyer's side of the table, and you're now in a buyer's market. Why? Because we didn't price it right, and all the buyers have come at once. They're like vultures, all on your house at once, and they've all left. So it's essential that you price with a realtor and sell with a realtor who knows how to sell in this market, who knows how to make sure you go home with all the winnings in this high-stakes poker game. We stage your home for visual appeal. Now that sounds counterintuitive. Why do I have to stage my home if it's so hot, the market? You don't have to, but you have to if you want top dollar and you want competing interest in your home. The Kathy Cairo Group offers a free staging consultant to all of our clients. Professional photography is a must. Your buyer's going to find your home on their phones, and they're going to be flipping through. I call it the Tinder of houses. Those of you who have kids, they're going to swipe left. If your pictures, I think left means we don't want it. I'm hoping you know I've never been on Tinder, but I watch my kids, and I think swipe left means you've lost the race. So when we have your house, if your house doesn't look good online, they're going to swipe right left and not buy your home. Your buyer, for many of you, does not know that the Columbus Dispatch exists. Your buyer, for many of you, do not know the purpose of print advertising. If they cannot find it online, it does not exist. So we make sure your home online looks phenomenal. We use the best professional photographer in Central Ohio. We utilize drone photography if that's what it needs. And then we also, for our high-end homes, we'll even do an indoor tour where you can use your finger and tour the home. So again, we make your home win in the Tinder race where you get chosen by all the buyers that are out there. And finally, I always encourage my homeowners to know what the inspector is going to find before the home inspector finds it. I'm going to question you about your attic or your fireplace or basement crawl space. We want to know what issues are there and solve the problem before the buyer comes in there and does it. So again, bring a pro to the table so all these bases are covered for you. Know where you're going. Now that's a tough thing, and we're going to talk about it a little later when we talk about what options are available for you in Central Ohio. How long will this market last? We don't know, and that is a very, very honest question. I've gotten asked that question every year for the past 5 years. How long will this incredible market last? I don't know. We do know that interest rates are likely to stay low through next year. We do know that the housing inventory is very low in Central Ohio, probably still will be this spring. What we don't know is the long-term effects of COVID. And some of you may have noticed we have a presidential election coming up in a few weeks. That's going to have an impact as well on our housing market. So we don't know going into spring, but this is what I would tell you. If you have a reason to sell in the next 2 years, meaning a child is graduating, you are retiring, something's happening in the next 2 years, I would look really hard at selling now because I don't know that we're going to have these terms to sell your home in 18 months or 2 years from now. So that is a brief overlook on the housing market. Next, we're going to talk about getting your home ready to stage. I've asked one of the stagers that we provide our clients at the Kathy Cairo Group is Sarah Bean. And Sarah owns her own company, Altogether Lovely Home Staging and Redecorating. Sarah, talk to our audience here and tell them why you got in the staging business.
Yeah, Kathy, thanks so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be with you all. I got into the staging business because I really wanted to help people. And a friend of mine was selling his house and really needed help just with furniture flow and color, and wanted to make sure that he could have a quick sale for the most amount of money. And so he kind of introduced me into that, and I helped him. So I just love what I do, and I love seeing the results.
Well, we're going to take a look at some of Sarah's results. She takes homes and takes them from ho-hum to wow.
Oh,
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. How exciting. This is a hot market. And I'm so excited to talk with you today about professional home staging and how it can help you when you're preparing to list your home. You probably heard about home staging. There are lots of shows on HGTV, maybe a neighbor or a friend or a real estate agent, a realtor introduced you to home staging, but you may still wonder, why stage? Does it really make a difference? And I would say with a 100%, absolutely, it makes a difference. As Kathy was talking, I have those same points. I see that there are three main keys to successfully selling a home. And the first one is rolling up your sleeves and doing the prep work. And that includes home staging. That includes doing some decluttering, depersonalizing, setting up emotional connection points, and doing what you need to do so that buyers can feel at home in your home. Number two, professional photos. As Kathy was saying, you really want to use a realtor like the Cairo team that invest in those professional photos. It makes all the difference. And then number three, making sure that it's priced right. And again, the right realtor will know how to price the home. Audra Slinky, who's the president of Home Staging Resources, defines home staging this way. Home staging is using limited funds, practical creativity, objectivity, market demographic and real estate knowledge, and extraordinary expertise to professionally prepare a home to sale. It does not have to break the bank, but the results can be your home will be more attractive to buyers, you can sell more quickly, and you can make more money. Staging helps buyers visualize themselves in your home. Did you know that 80 to 90% of buyers have a really hard time imagining anything different than what they see in front of them? So that's why staging is key. It also helps buyers emotionally connect to the home, and it appeals to a larger segment of people. I have a few before and after pictures, and who doesn't love transformation pictures, right? This home was of grandparents, and this was the guest bedroom where they kind of just threw everything. And with a half a day staging and using some of what they had, we transformed it. Same thing, a living room that has a little bit of an awkward flow, opening it up. They sold, I think it was the second day for list price. Before photo, this was a child care provider. After, again, sold over list price within 1 day. This was a family who had built their home in Westerville, had been in the home 40 years, and as you can see, accumulated a lot of stuff. And just with my staging consultation, they were able to do the hard work. The family banded together, and they sold in the first weekend for $10,000 over. Here's another before and after, just repainting, decluttering. Huge difference, right? Also, with staging, your photos will stand out, which equals improved marketing. As Kathy said, 98% of people are going to go online first before they book a showing. So that's your first chance to draw them in with those emotional connection points. And your photos will shine above the competition. If they are looking at several houses and you have those professional photos of your staged home, they're going to choose your home. Here's a before of a vacant. Now note that my specialty is occupied homes, which means the seller is still living in the home while they're trying to sell the house. And I know that can be very challenging, but I really enjoy working one-on-one with families and saying, okay, we have to adjust lifestyle a little bit, but it's going to pay off. So a lot of these photos you're going to see before and after. So, you know, grandma's chair was in the corner there. This house was not selling. The realtor brought me in and said, what can you do? And it sold within a couple of days over list. Furniture flow is important. A lot of times there's a lot of clutter and it's just a matter of getting it out of there, opening it up. So what a lot of people like to hear is staging equals greater return on investment. It means more money and a quicker sale. 85% of staged homes make 6 to 25% more than their unstaged neighbor, and that's huge. It also benefits both the buyer, they're getting a nice, new, bright home, and the seller, they're getting more money in their pocket, and also just the satisfaction of knowing they put their best foot forward with their most precious investment. When you look at the befores and then you look at the afters, which one do you want to live in, right? This was a bedroom that had not been touched in 40 years. It was a teen bedroom. I didn't do a whole lot with this except give the consultation that you need to paint, you need to put some carpet, and how to make the furniture flow. But again, this was a home that sold very quickly and over list. This home sold $10,000 over by just following our staging consultation. Staging empowers you to be a more relaxed, confident seller. As we talk about often, it is a stressful process to get ready to list your home, especially if you've been there for years. But hiring a professional home stager can alleviate that stress because you know you put it in hands of someone who's going to walk with you and care for you and do what's very best for you and your sale. And staging pays for itself. The investment you make in the front end of preparing your home for sale does come back to you. So top dollar plus faster sale equals happy you. Find a professional home stager that you can trust with your home. I would be privileged to help you. Like I told Kathy, I love working one-on-one with families. I love the process of just helping them deal with what the next step is and letting them know what they need to do to make their photos shine, to get people in the door, and to do really well. What I do when I come into the home initially is we do a staging consultation. It takes 2 hours or less, and we go through your home room by room. You can tell me the things you've updated, the things you would like to do. We talk about color, lighting, how you can set up emotional connection points so that it draws the buyers in. You walk away with a vendor list, you walk away with a priority shopping list, and you walk away with step-by-step instructions of what to do in each room. If you are thinking of listing at all in the next year or two, I have a staging cheat sheet. And so if you go to the chat box and you put your name and email in there and say, hey, pick me, I would like that staging cheat sheet, I will email that to you. And so you can get started now. They're just simple steps that you can do right now to prepare your home for listing. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm so thrilled to be here. Appreciate it.
And first of all, Sarah is offering, as one of our door prizes for today's program, she's offering a free consultation in your home. Yeah. So when stick around to the end, put your name on the list, and if we draw your name, Sarah will be happy to come out. And I'll tell you, Sarah, one of the things I tell our clients, because Sarah is one of the Kathy Cairo Group stagers, we do provide free of charge that consultation to you if you list our home with us. And I tell my homeowners, the thing I love about you is that, other than you're just a wonderful person, but in terms of the staging, is that 90% of what you tell them to do costs little or no money.
Correct.
It's really just seeing those rooms like the camera sees them and helping you shift things around or remove things. And every homeowner that Sarah has gone into their home, the homeowners will call me and they'll say, that was wonderful. We thought we needed 3 couches in the living room. we discovered we did not.
Right.
So again, Sarah, thank you for being here. Again, put in the chat box if you want Sarah to send you that cheat sheet she has, and we'll get that right out to you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Sarah. So now you are a seller, you've staged it, you've priced it well, you're ready to go. But doesn't that mean in this hot seller's market that you are now a buyer? Yes, it does. So now where do you go? Once you sell, aren't I a buyer? Well, yeah, you are. And I'm not going to lie to you, that can be a challenge in Central Ohio. So the first thing I will tell you is I am not going to address those of you who are selling to move to a sunny state like Florida or Georgia or North Carolina. However, I'm going to make a shameful plug here for our event next year. We are going to present a seminar just for you. We're calling it Downsize Down South, and we are bringing realtors from those areas that you're moving to, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona. We're going to bring them hopefully live and have them talk to you about their communities, about living there, cost of living, things like that. But today I want to talk to that group who's staying here, who's staying in Central Ohio. What are our options? First of all, you could buy an existing single-family home. You could buy a condominium, attached or freestanding. You could buy a patio home, or you could do new build construction. So let's talk about those. First of all, the ranch-style single-family home. That's the holy grail. Everybody wants that home that you're looking at. We want 2,200 square feet minimum. We want everything on one floor. We'd love a wooded lot, and we'd like some privacy. Well, that home does exist in Central Ohio, but it's about 10% of homes out there. So when a nice ranch comes on the market, it is a buyer feeding frenzy. The buyers all come at once. So if that's what you're looking for, we need to sit down and talk, because I need to talk you through the process, give you some ways to buy that home before selling yours. We are in a market. Remember the old days of sale of home contingencies, where you could put your home on the market and write an offer on another home? I haven't seen a sale of home contingency in almost a decade, because in this hyper seller's market, nobody's going to wait for you to sell your home. They don't have to. There's 4 or 5 offers in front of you that have no home to sell. So I'm able to talk some strategies through you. One of the great tools you're going to learn about today, the home equity conversion mortgage, is a way you can take the buying power of the equity in your home and buy a home, your dream home in Central Ohio. We're going to talk about bridge loans, the way to use the equity in your home to move forward and buy another home. But again, be aware that the ranch style home is what everyone's looking for, and 1 out of 10 houses is a ranch style home. And if I broke that down to ranch style homes with a first floor laundry, even less homes than that are there. So that's the reality. So ranch style means no or few steps, owner suite and laundry on the main floor, ownership, you own it, maintain the entire home. Some rules: if there's an active HOA, you are going to have rules. There's no rules in the exterior of that home if it does not have an HOA. The next product that could be available to you are condominiums. Now, I will tell you, if you have in your mind what a condominium is, this is not your mother's condominium. The condominiums today are elegant, they are large, they are luxury, and they are expensive. I'll tell you that. You've probably seen these. Attached or detached condominiums have high-end amenities. They have attached garages. They have basements. They have ongoing community events. I say it's like living on a cruise forever. and they're in beautiful, beautiful locations throughout Central Ohio. Now, the ownership of these condominiums, generally you own the walls in. And what that means is you can do anything you want to the interior of your condominium, but the outside is highly regulated. The condo association takes care of most, if not all of, exterior maintenance, and it is highly regulated by association rules. You can't keep your garage door up. You can't change the numbers on your mailbox, all of those sort of things. And there will be monthly fees associated because they're maintaining the exterior of your property, and those monthly fees can go anywhere from $150 to $500 or more for condominiums. The second is patio homes, and I get the question a lot. What's the difference between a patio home and a condominium? And really, these are not residential or building differences. They are ownership differences. Remember, a single family home, you own the whole pie. It's all yours. A condominium, you own half the pie because the association owns the exterior, you own the interior. On a patio home, generally you own the whole pie, but the association maintains grass, snow removal, all the things you don't want to do, or you want to lock the door and go to Florida 6 months, they take care of the exterior. However, you are still responsible for the roof and the exterior of the home. So it's kind of like condo light, meaning they maintain some things, but they don't maintain all things. Again, it is highly regulated. You do have association declarations and bylaws that you have to abide by, and you will have a monthly fee. And that will be usually smaller because they're only mowing and snow removal and things like that, but there is a monthly fee. And then there is new build construction. That's what a lot of people are going to simply because there's not enough homes on the market. New build construction is wonderful. You choose the lot and floor plan. You have some customization depending on your builder and price point, but it's going to take 6 to 18 months to build that home. So if you are thinking that's what you want and you have a time frame up ahead, you got to be planning now. If your child is graduating next year or in 2022, now, believe it or not, is the time to start planning that because the builders are the seller in this market, very high demand, and many of them are months out getting homes started as well as putting your home in line to build. And I will also drop in here that you can and should have a realtor representing you when you buy a new build. We do the same thing we do on a residential home. We represent you. We make sure that the builder adheres to what they said they would do. We help you in lot and finish choices, which is, again, our experience. So again, that's another option for you. Now, 10% of single family homes are ranch style, so extremely high demand exceeds supply. Pre-planning is essential. If you call me tomorrow and say we need to be out of here in 3 months, that ranch you're looking for may not be there for 6 months. So you really need to start that planning early and get us into your home. Let's put a timeline together and get you looking for that. Call us, and again, if you have interest in a in-home consultation from myself or anyone on my team, just put your name and put the word home in the chat box. We'll make sure we get back with you and plan for that. Now, some of you say, what if I don't want to own anymore? What if the American dream is no longer a dream? It's a been there, done that. I had the small house, the medium house, the big house. Now I want no house. I don't want to change light bulbs. I don't want to shovel snow. I don't want, if the hot water heater is leaking, I want to pick up a phone and call someone, not a plumber, and nobody I pay for. We call that renting. And do you know renting is the booming segment for homeowners, for people who have owned their home. They're now saying, why should I buy? Why do I want a mortgage payment? I maybe don't live here throughout the year, or I'm gone half the year. I would love a place that gives me maximum flexibility. So our next guest on our Downsize Columbus program right now is Jane Arthur Roslovic, and I will tell you this, Jane, that Jane is one of the smartest people I know. Jane and her sister and her brother had this idea years ago, didn't you? Where you
2014.
thought, yeah,
2012,
and,
actually.
And who would have guessed that at age 55 and over, someone wants to rent?
Absolutely.
And why did you think of that, or why did you?
The financial freedom and the ability to do other things other than take care of the home that I was going to be living in, and all three of us are over 55 now, and so we were talking about it and thought this was the way to go.
Well, it certainly is for many of you. So Jane's going to share with you what Trepless Communities offers Central Ohio and talk to you a little bit about that option many of you maybe weren't even aware was out there.
Absolutely. Thank you,
You're
Kathy.
welcome.
My siblings and I are thrilled that you put Downsize Columbus on every year. We've been sponsors and thrilled to participate. I was afraid this was going to happen.
Do you need to go
I
backwards?
use touch.
Do you need to go backwards?
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I'm good.
There you go.
Metropolis Communities offers an exciting option known as active adult living. We're one of the few Central Ohio developers that develops solely active adult apartments for people who are 55 and older. We saw that there was a need for people who didn't want to maintain their homes anymore, pay for and manage. They want to travel more and are interested in living in a home that has a private entrance, has plenty of storage, and an attached garage. Some of our premium amenities are the concierge service. Well, all of our homes are single story with private entrances, attached oversized garages, zero entry, and no steps throughout the unit. We have plenty of outdoor spaces, front patios, and porches that are private to the spaces. Home offices and dens are offered in a lot of our apartments. We also have gourmet kitchens that are just spectacular with granite countertops and stainless steel appliances. The Commons is the heart of our community. It has a resort-style lifestyle clubhouse with a fitness center, billiards room, business center, catering kitchen, and common areas as a luxury backdrop for parties and casual gatherings. The community center calendar also offers weekly social and fitness, educational, and entertainment events. Additionally, our residents enjoy the community garden and dog park. The community garden has just exploded this year and has provided our really a nice sense of social interaction. Each community has an on-site management team and maintenance team, as well as a 24/7 concierge service to help with a variety of personal and home services. You're not just living in a neighborhood, you're living in a community when you live at a Metropolis community. We are very, very take pride in where our locations are. We are in a walkable and diverse neighborhood typically. Live a short drive from shopping, restaurants, and healthcare. Embrace a feeling of community, know your neighbors, and enjoy a pet-friendly community. Garden in the community, our community gardens has just been spectacular. We have 3 locations here in Central Ohio: Hawthorne Commons in Dublin, Redbud Commons in Pickerington, and Borough Commons in Delaware. We have 3 properties coming soon in the Central Ohio area. Our residents have been fabulous, and they're the ones who really create the community. Please join me in watching the video.
We have 2 children here in Columbus and realized that our grandchildren were growing up without us knowing about it. So we decided to come over and establish our residence here and get to know the kids better.
I was really looking for an opportunity to enjoy being my age and having a place to be more what I would like to have been.
Bill had prepared a list of 12 places to look at. When we came here and saw, like I said, it was one level, that your neighbors, instead of being on top of you, are beside you. The places are soundproof, but it is easy access to getting to know your neighbors. And so we looked at this place and signed that day.
The place that we are in is exactly what I would have designed for myself. I love the finishes, I love the floor plan, the space is fantastic.
We love the one level, the vaulted ceilings, the room for the things that we have, the walk-in closets. It just filled all the needs.
The windows up above allow the natural light to come in, and the unique design of the facility was quite intriguing to us.
to have a walk-in shower where you don't have to climb over a tub to get a shower, to be able to do that. So yes, the way the apartments are arranged, and that was well thought out.
When we came here and they announced to us you have a 2-car garage, actually a 2.5-car garage, we just couldn't believe it.
When I'm asked about what my favorite part of my home is, that's very tough for me to answer because I love the light, I love the closet, I love the master shower, I love the master bathroom, I love my master bedroom, and the kitchen is fantastic. It's very hard for me to say that I have a favorite space. I love being able to come in and relax, have a beverage, kind of unwind, and then go home to the rest of the evening. So having the commons, having the outdoor space has just been wonderful.
The facility here is wonderful for working out and doing weights and treadmills.
They have a meeting room there for a business, like a little meeting room for businesses. So we have our home-based business and we meet clients at that little business center, which is really nice.
We have 2 ways to get to know the neighbors. The one way is the commons way. We have social functions here. As I mentioned, the bridge, the monthly social hour, and then you get to know the people there. Secondly is to go next door and introduce yourself to the people, and all of a sudden you find out that was the easy function, that they were anxious to meet me and find out who I am and where I've been, as I was to find out who they are.
Well, I'm a new gardener. I've never really been good at it or had an opportunity to do that. So we've got heirloom tomatoes that we put together, and I can't wait for the peppers to come out, and especially the tomatoes and all the herbs. And I have beautiful flowers now in my house as they are part of the cutting garden.
There's a honeymoon phase, everything's really new. I have to say, we have just gotten very, very comfortable being here, and so glad we made that decision.
As we go through life, we meet people and develop friendships and relationships and enjoy each other. We were very pleased when we moved here that we found a reservoir of people that are a delight to be with and enjoy experiencing the same thing we're experiencing. So it made the transition, the move to this area, very, very easy for us and enjoyable.
It's hard to believe we've been here 2 years. It seems like we've been here longer just because of the way we fit in. And I honestly say that I know more people by name here in the last 2 years than I did living 24 years where I did in the old neighborhood.
I have lived in about 50 different places, and I feel like I've come to the end of that, and I'm glad that I'm in a nice place like this.
We are redefining 55-plus living, and we couldn't have said it any better than the residents that live at one of our communities. If you have any questions, please put in our chat, and we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Okay, I want to live there. I'm going to put my name in chat, Jane, so you can come live there. Isn't that phenomenal? I tell you, when I first met Jane and her sister, I said, and I tell them this, you all are brilliant. Who would have ever thought that the 55 or older community would want to rent, but yet now here I am, and I would love, I just the lack of having to fix your own plumbing and mow your own lawn, wonderful. Anyway, if you have interest, a couple things. Number one, Troublous Communities as a door prize. You stick with us to the end. They are offering a $1,000 credit into one of their communities. If you end up living there, that's essentially getting a good part of your first month free. And they're also going to provide this wonderful gift basket that has coffee and soaps and all sorts of fun things that will be given away also. So stick with us to the end. Those are some of our door prizes. If you have questions for Jane or anyone at Troublous, just put it in the chat box. We'll get it to her. Okay, so Steve Barton is here with me today. If you have to move, you have stuff.
Yeah.
We knew that. You are a champion of stuff.
Yes.
Steve is with 2 Men in a Truck, And tell me, Steve, how much stuff do people have?
More than they maybe even think. We've definitely walked into a lot of residents, and I think we've been a little shocked at times. And but that's why we're there, and we train our guys to manage that, and we have a team back at our office that's going to help manage that when we do arrive, because we know that it's stressful. We know that there's a lot of things that just can come up that you may not have thought about, in that moment.
Steve, you and I've talked about this, that often we think of the mover is that person we call a few days before the weekend we want to move. But as we're talking about in this downsizing presentation, pre-planning is everything. How does the mover come into place?
Well, I'll tell you, when you call for a scheduling, you can't call within a couple weeks with our service. We're easily scheduling about 5 to 6 weeks out right now. And I think when people call in a couple weeks from their move date, they're a little shocked, and that just adds more of the stress. And so I can only suggest that you contact and start shopping around and getting your quotes with companies, and hopefully we get an opportunity to be a part of that. And the big thing that I would ask for is, first of all, is their hiring standards. We don't want to just put any individual into your home where, this is all the stuff that you've ever worked hard for, and we're going to have somebody touch that and work with you all day long. We want to make sure it's a person that's going to communicate properly with you. And of course, they can handle the heavy lifting. I mean, we want to make sure that they're strong enough and physically capable of doing the job. But they have to be able to let your guard down a little bit and feel at ease and say, I think I can work with this person for the rest of the afternoon.
So if I call you and you come to my home, what does that visit look like? What are you going to look at on my behalf?
Yeah, we're going to take an inventory. So we typically start within the bedrooms, and we're going to literally walk through visually, and we take an inventory of everything that we're going to be moving for you. I won't go into the mathematics of it, but it's cubing, and then we break that down into time, and then that's how we come up with our estimates on how much weight can our guys move per hour based on the furniture that you have throughout the house.
I work with a lot of homeowners who say, look, we need you guys for the heavy stuff, but we would like to do our home office, we would like to do our kitchen, we'd like to get our bathroom set up. Do you allow the homeowner to do some of those things?
Yeah, certainly. Offering like packing supplies, if that's what you want to do to prepare for that, I would suggest that you get that ahead of time, because that is going to be very overwhelming. I'm sure a lot of people, right now, if you were preparing for a move, you think to yourself, I got to pack up my basement. I got to pack up, leave some of those things for us if you'd like. Do some of the easier things. Let's do some bedrooms with some pictures and some lamps and such. Maybe clothes, though, something that we would like to handle. Wardrobe boxes. If you look at your walk-in closet right now and you have all of these hanging clothes, how are you going to transport those without them just falling everywhere? We provide packing supplies for that, or we offer a packing service where we will come out, and it doesn't have to be the whole home. We do kind of an a la carte kind of thing where if you want us to just focus on the kitchen, we can actually pack your kitchen in a couple hours on the day of the move. And you don't have to worry about that, until we arrive, if we set that up ahead of time.
I'm talking with Steve Barton from Two Men in a Truck. And Steve, the other thing I was actually surprised you do, and I don't know if it's an added service, and I know nobody in Central Ohio has this problem, but you do junk removal.
We do. I tell you, last year I was on the sales floor with my team, and I noticed we were providing a lot of business for other services similar to that. And I said, that's something we can handle. We want to be a one-stop shop. I mean, why not take the responsibility away from the client, where they have to call around and get multiple estimates? We'll prepare all of that for you. When it comes to the junk service, we have 3 different opportunities there. We can do the move for you, and you got a couple pieces you want us to take with us afterwards. We'll go ahead and do that for a fee. If you want us to do the heavy lifting, we'll bring the junk truck with us. Our guys will come in and they will dispose of that for you. Or if you want to do it at your leisure, then we will go ahead and drop off a container at your house, and you can go ahead and dispose of the stuff that you'd like on your own.
Steve, one final question before we move on. What do you do for the client who is not sure where they're going? They know they want to keep some things they might want to go in storage, and then some things they're going to get rid of. How do you help those people?
Yeah, we do a lot of this. We know that there's going to be times where things might fall through and you don't know where you're going. We do have a full a storage facility where we can come out and we'll take, let's say you have a 3,000 square foot house, but you're like, look, I'm only going to move into a temporary housing. We will come out, set up where we will bring all of the stuff that you don't want to live with for the next couple months, maybe store, put that in our truck, take it back to our storage facility, and then we can also set up a move where we can come and take from your larger home back to the apartment of your choice or wherever you might be going in transition.
If you have questions for Steve or want to talk to him about the services of Two Men in a Truck, put your name and question into the chat box there next to you, and we'll have Steve contact you. Steve, I love your gift, door prize. For those of you who stick around with us, Steve, tell us about this. It's worth $750, your junk container.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how does that work?
So if you contact us and you say, hey, I am the winner of this service, we are willing to put forth $750 worth of services towards the junk container. If we were to drop off the container at that cost, that would give you 5 days to have that container at your home to do it at your leisure. Or if you want us to do the heavy lifting and we'll come out for that $750, we could be at your house for 8 hours that day and we will physically do all the work for you.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. So those of you who are watching, stick around and again, put your questions in the chat box. At the end of the program, we're going to allow you to put your name in to possibly win that. So again, Steve, thanks so much for being our guest.
Yep.
Now, I know the reason I laugh when I talk about you all homeowners and the stuff you have is I've been in your houses, so don't lie to me. You have more than you think you do, and you have so much stuff that I wrote a book. I call this my COVID vacation book. Remember when you were a kid, they say, what'd you do on your summer vacation? This is what I did on my COVID vacation. I put together, this is wonderful resource, over 100 pages, and I call it Got Stuff, Get Help, the complete guide to the where to, how to, and who to of getting rid of stuff in Central Ohio. And it has a donation area, a sell area, a junk area, gives you all the resources, Steve is in it, all the resources for getting rid of stuff. And I want you to have this book. In fact, I'd rather you get it before I come to your house, so you've got a head start. Take a look at this. I'll tell you a little bit about my book.
Stuff. Of course you do. Downsizing expert Kathy Cairo brings you Got Stuff, Get Help. The complete guide to the who to, where to, and how to of getting rid of stuff. This easy-to-use reference book features over 100 pages of Columbus-based businesses and nonprofit organizations. Sell it, donate it, toss it, organize it. It's all here. New York Times best-selling author Peter Walsh offers his decluttering tips, and Kathy shares her insights from years of helping homeowners just like you. Read the stories of local business owners, find value in the things you were going to throw away, and be encouraged to start your own journey to a simpler life. Get your copy today. Got Stuff? Get Help. The book is $30 plus tax and shipping. Order your copy today at DownsizeColumbus.com. Look for the Got Stuff, Get Help.
You've got downsizing questions. We've got experts and the answers. Coming up next, financial.
I've got 5 copies of my book that I'm going to give to those of you at the end of the program. Again, my door prize to you is a free copy of my book, and if you will put your name in the chat box towards the end, I'll make sure that you get a copy. I am so thrilled to have Anne-Marie Steeman with me. Anne-Marie is our corporate sponsor of Downsize Columbus. She works with Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. They are one of the nation's top HECM providers. HECM stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, and it allows you to use the equity in your current home to double the purchasing power of your next home. I know you're going to have questions for Anne-Marie, so make sure you've got the chat box ready. Welcome, Anne-Marie.
Thank you,
This is an exciting product that many people don't know about.
Exactly. That's the challenge. 99% of the country doesn't know it exists.
And it is perfect for this group. I'm going to let you tell them about it.
All right. Thanks, Kathy. Great to be here. I just want to share with you that this program, or you're going to have a video that kind of gives you the encapsulation of what it is, but this program very few people know exists. It is not something that's been around a long time. It's only been around 11 years. It is not offered in local banks. And so we are the largest HECM for purchase lender in the country. So I'm going to let Tom and Sarah share their journey with you so you can get a glimpse of exactly what it can do for you.
Tom and Sarah are nearing retirement, and the house they've lived in for the past 35 years no longer fits their lifestyle plan. Although they love living in a home that's paid for, they know that maintaining an aging home will be challenging, not to mention the burden of navigating stairs. So recently, they decided to look into purchasing a new home. The problem is, they haven't been home shopping for over 30 years, and taking out a mortgage while on a fixed income in retirement concerns them. Tom and Sarah know that paying cash for their next home is probably the best purchase strategy, but aren't sure they can get the home they really want using only the proceeds from the sale of their existing home. They don't want to tap into their retirement accounts either, because they fear running out of money at some point in the future. Tom and Sarah purchased their current home in 1977 for $57,900, and now they own their home free and clear. A trusted realtor in the area told them that their house is valued at approximately $486,000. After closing costs and realtor fees, they'll net about $448,000 when they sell their home. So, with a budget of $448,000, Tom and Sarah begin the search for their dream home. Tom and Sarah don't always agree on everything, but one thing they do agree on is this. This may be the last home they purchase, and they want it to have things like single-story living, modern design, an upgraded kitchen, outdoor living space, and low maintenance. So, on a sunny Saturday morning, Tom and Sarah map out 3 homes they want to visit. After touring the first home, Sarah asked the sales agent, "How much does this home cost?" $700,000, ma'am, exclaims the friendly agent. That's a whopping $252,000 over Tom and Sarah's budget. Their dreams quickly turned to disappointment. The friendly sales agent mentioned that there's a unique loan program that they should really consider because it was designed just for them. He went on to explain a strategy that middle-income and affluent boomers like Tom and Sarah have been using since 2009 to purchase their dream home. He told them about the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage for Purchasing Program, or H4P program for short. What makes this program unique is that it only requires a one-time payment of about 55% of the price of the home, and then there are no monthly mortgage payments for the rest of your life. You remain responsible for home maintenance and the payment of property taxes, home insurance, and any HOA fees. Tom and Sarah realized they actually can afford the $700,000 home on this program, and that they are effectively doubling their purchasing power compared to paying cash or taking out a regular mortgage. The new H4P program is for those ages 62 and up. It's an FHA-insured program that simply requires a one-time down payment of about 55% of the purchase price and does not require a mortgage payment as long as you live in the home. Remember that home maintenance and payment of property taxes and insurance are ongoing program requirements. Discover how you can buy the home you really want without tying up a large portion of your savings. Take the next step and learn more. Contact us today to learn why we're the nation's largest H4P lender, with loan specialists in 44 states. We're here to help you turn lost opportunities into sales.
Okay, well that I know sounds too good to be true. That's what I hear from everybody. And that's why I'd like you to hear from a few of my clients that actually sat where you're sitting right now, just thought this just sounds too good, and what their thoughts were after they got the facts and moved into their new home.
What if I can tell you there's a way to have a payment, or to have your house and have more house than you ever dreamed of having with no payment?
The HECM allowed us to not only get into a new home in an area where we wanted to be, in a house that we wanted to be in, but it allowed us to free up money from the sale of the original house to buy a small condo for our daughter and grandson to be in.
Tell me about a HECM loan. And he said, my 62nd birthday, I'm going to go get in one. I'm from the school, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is.
It was a bit miraculous that we were able to pull all of that off and still have money to decorate the house the way we wanted and not have a mortgage as we headed into retirement.
Why do we want to put all of our money into a place to live and then have no money to enjoy whatever good mobile ambulatory years we have left?
First of all, we couldn't have afforded a place that nice without deplenishing our savings.
The advice that I give to someone who's on the fence about HECM is nothing has gone differently than what we were told would happen.
It gave us the freedom to still be able to travel, have a nice home, not have to worry about as much financially. So it was like having your cake and eating it too. You can have a beautiful home and still travel and enjoy your retired years.
And we've got $63,000 in upgrades that I never would have thought about.
Because it was a life-changing thing for us.
And we did share it with other prospective buyers
Yes, we have.
too.
Yes, we have.
It's opened up a lot of opportunities for us.
We were able to get a really, really premium home with a lot of great upgrades, and we only had to take less than half of the cash that we had available to the closing, which we're going on a cruise next month. We're going to Palm Springs, California in March. We're going to the Masters in April. We're taking an Alaskan cruise in 2019. I mean, these are things that we would never been able to afford those things if we socked all of our money into a home. That's all we would have had was a home.
All that was pre-COVID travel, obviously. Obviously, things have changed a little bit. But the next step for you is really to get the facts. I can't stress that enough. You can go to www.hecmprogram.com. You can download the buyer's guide, which will share with you exactly how the program works. You can also register for a seminar that I have every Tuesday at 2 o'clock and at 5:30 every single week. You just click on the click to register. It's via Zoom, so you can sit in your own home and listen to how this program works. Like I said, the biggest thing you can do, the biggest favor you can do for yourself is to get the facts so you can determine if this is a good option for you, because this has been a game changer for so many people in retirement. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Anne Marie. I like to tell the story of a client that I told many people don't know about the home equity conversion mortgage, and I told one of my clients and they used it, and they called me, I think after their first non-mortgage payment when they didn't have one, and they said, Kathy, if we could still have kids, we'd name them after you. So it is, as Anne Marie says, a game changer. I'm sure you have questions. Put them in the chat box, but we are so fortunate here in Central Ohio that Anne Marie is one of the nation's top consultants for the HECM mortgage. She's the woman who will answer your questions, and of course take advantage of her free classes to learn more about it. Also, Anne wants to say thank you for being part of today's program. She's offering a $100 Visa gift card to you. If you stick around to the end of the program and your name is drawn, we'll have her send that to you, and you can go out to lunch, take her along with you when you come out to one of her classes. So thanks again, and we're so grateful to Mutual of Omaha Mortgage for being our corporate sponsor of DownSize Columbus. Another good friend sitting with me here, this is Stuart Spalt with American Eagle Mortgage. He is a regional manager. Yep. Thank you, Stuart, for being here. You know, the home equity conversion mortgage is a great option, but some people, it's either not for them, or they say, gosh, what are my other options? What are some of the more traditional methods people have? And many of our viewers have equity in their home. How can they use that equity to move to the next home?
Well, great. We're glad to be here, Kathy. This is a wonderful event that we've been a part of for a while, and we love doing this. There are a lot of great programs out there for the downsizer that are outside the HECM program that might not go that route. And many of these, we can use the equity in their home before they've actually sold the house. That's a great way. One of them is the bridge loan. We do lots of the bridge loans, allow people to get that equity out of their current house before they've sold it to be able to use as a down payment on the new house that they want to buy.
So make sure I break this down for me. So I own a home, say it's $300,000, and let's say I own it outright. So minus selling fees, I have somewhere in the neighborhood of $280,000 equity in that home. Are you telling me that I can be, even before I sell the home, I can use that money to turn around and buy another property?
Yes, that's correct. With the bridge loan, you could get anywhere from $50,000 up to $400,000 out of your current home to use that as the down payment on your current home. We have different options with the equity mortgage. Some of them you pay interest only for a couple months while you're in the program. Some of them you don't have to make a payment at all. It just depends on the circumstances and which route works best for the customer.
And the great thing about using those programs in this market, because, bridge loans, or we call them gap loans, you might have heard that, they've been around for years. But in past years, prior to this hyper sellers market, I would advise my clients, look, you can use a bridge loan, but make sure you can hold on to, 2 homes for 4 to 6 months while your home sells. Well, in this market, you're going to own that first home 4 to 6 days before it goes into contract. So many times our clients are closing on their existing home and turning right around if they want to and paying off that bridge loan. And that's kind of the goal, isn't it?
That is the goal, yeah. And now the bridge loan today is not the same as the bridge loan in the past, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people could not qualify for a bridge loan in the past because they'd have to qualify with both those payments. And some of the options we have now with our bridge loan is we don't even include the house payment of the house they're leaving in our qualification, so it doesn't hurt them from buying the new home.
That is really amazing. And let me again remind you, if you've joined late or didn't hear me early in the program, we're in such a fast-moving housing market in Central Ohio that we no longer can wait for your home to sell in order for you to purchase. The old sale of home contingency, where you could put your home on the market, go shopping, find a home, write an offer, that won't be back for at least a year and a half, I think. So having a product like this is essential to allow you to buy without selling your home and then have the ease of turning around. So once they've sold their home, do they have to pay off that bridge loan? Is that part of the program?
That's part of the program.
Okay, all right. Well, Stuart Spaltz with American Eagle Mortgage. Stuart, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And American Eagle Mortgage is offering as your door prize, put your name in the chat box at the end of our program, a $250 gift card. So if you're the winner of that gift card, we're going to mail it to you. Thanks to American Eagle Mortgage and the great team there. And again, if you have questions about your mortgage or getting your next loan, put your name and email address in there. We'll have Stuart turn around and get in touch with you. So thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having us.
And we just look forward to doing a lot of business with you this year.
Hi, I'm Corey Sickles. I'm president of Safe Harbor Retirement Group. I'd like to thank, Kathy for allowing me to be part of DownSize Columbus. One of the things that I would recommend more than anything else is, as you start thinking about downsizing, one of the things you really need to kind of focus on is your financial picture. Everyone wants to have an essential or secure retirement. And really one of the best ways to be able to do that is to be able to actually have a financial plan in place. One of the interesting things that I found out through a study through Fidelity is they say right now about 70% of people out there 50 years or older don't even have a written financial plan in place. 75% of the people out there are doing their finances themselves, which means they think you think you're the expert of being able to build that financial plan. The interesting, stat about the Fidelity thing, or the Fidelity study as well, is that 75% of the people out there, 50% plus, do not think they're going to be able to have what we would call a secure retirement. They're a little bit worried. So if you don't have a financial plan today, you need to make sure that you're putting those pieces together to have one tomorrow. And one of the things that I'll actually say as well is why do you need a plan, right? If you think about it, we're living longer. And one of the things that people are worried about more than anything else is being able to run out of money. And you need to be able to have a written plan to be able to see, am I going to have an issue, when I'm actually 80, 90, or even if you live a little bit longer than that. Income planning's tough. If you're living longer, the other thing that people are worried about is health care. Am I going to go into a nursing home? How am I going to pay for that? Many of you might actually be experiencing, some of that today with your parents. They might be in nursing homes right now or some type of long-term care facility. So you're being able to see that, and you want to be able to prepare for that. The stock market. I mean, right now we're dealing with 2020's been a hectic year. COVID's caused the market to go down. What did you actually do with the volatility at that point in time? Did you stay in? Did you buy? Or, what did you do if you're doing it on yourselves? So by working with an advisor, that's some of the things we can actually walk you through. And as you can see, a lot of the other things that you have to really start thinking about as you start to prepare for retirement. So we're a fiduciary, and all that really means to you is everyone's situation is different, but I only can recommend the best products and services for you. We all have different needs for income. Everyone's situation is different. We all have different types of time horizons. I want to retire at 65. I want to retire at 60. That's always everyone. So many people come to the office and want to know, what is my magic number, right? When can I actually retire? And you need to be able to have products and things that we can put in place for you because your risk tolerance is different. And then lastly, as you think about it, liquidity. But when you actually come in and sit down with me, one of the things we're able to do more than anything else is put together a specific plan just for you. That's what my job is. By having a fiduciary responsibility, we're always going to recommend things that are in your best interest. And really, where do you start? Well, one of the first things that you really want to start with is Social Security. As you can see here, up to 50% of someone's income, for 65% of the retirees, is going to be Social Security, and 36% of the individuals out there retiring today, it's up to 90% of your income. And if you're in a situation like that, where it is going to represent a huge amount of your income in retirement, you want to make sure that you're actually maximizing those benefits. And one of the things we're able to offer you, you can go to our website at safeharboroh.com, and you can actually request what we call our Social Security Maximization Report. Again, there's no fee for this. More than anything, what we're trying to do is being able to educate you on how to be able to do that. The last thing that we kind of want to start talking about here is income planning. It's easy to accumulate money. And what I mean by that is when you're working, you have a paycheck, you have expenses, whatever is left over, hopefully you're saving and building a nest egg. But what happens when that day comes when you do retire? When you do retire, now you have to start taking money out of those assets. And what are you going to do when the stock market drops? We have volatility right now. What are you going to do when there's fees and charges that are eating up some of those assets? And for how long are you going to need that money? It can really become complicated when we start talking about income planning, because the last thing you want to do is run out of money. And if you're not set up the correct way to be able to do that, or have what I call if you don't have a financial plan in place, you have that potential of running out of money. And what do you want with an income plan, right? Well, the first thing is you want predictability. You want to make sure that as long as I'm living, I'm going to have an income stream coming in. Same amount, day in and day out. Then you kind of get into, longevity, right? I want it to be there as long as I am. Doesn't matter whether I do happen to live to be 100. And then the last thing is that I think a lot of people don't really understand is with the assets that I have, am I being the most efficient with that? Am I getting the most out of what I can out of those assets to be able to generate income for my lifetime? And there's three major risks I don't think people take into account when we start talking about, income planning in retirement. The first one's inflation. If you would have retired in the year 2000 at $50,000, say you only needed $50,000 a year of income back in 2000, it would actually have to be about $75,000 today to have the same buying power. And one of the things I think you really need to focus on is inflation. If you want to retire at $50,000 today, it's going to have to be, again, $75,000, 20 years from now. So you need to be able to have a plan that's going to show you that annual increase in income, through your retirement years. Taxes. This is going to be a good year to be able to think about this. As much money that's been passed out by the U.S. government with the COVID pandemic, someone's going to have to pay for it. And the only way to probably be able to do that is by being able to raise taxes. So one of the things you want to be able to make sure that you have is a financial plan that's going to be able to create, tax planning for you. And then the last part is market volatility. The market's constantly going to go up and down. And one of the things that you really need to be able to, what I would say, one of the most important things is to be able to make sure that you're allocated the correct way. And that's something that you should do on an annual basis. As you age and go through your retirement years, the one thing you're going to find out is you're going to become a little bit less risky, and you want to make sure that your portfolio experiences that. When the market dropped 35%, hopefully, earlier in the year, you want to make sure that your entire portfolio didn't experience that. And one of the things we're able to offer you, if you go to our website at safeharboroh.com, is you can actually find out what your risk score is. Right on the home page, you can actually take our color of money risk analysis and it's 11 questions, only takes 2 or 3 minutes. At that point in time, you'll be able to find out what your risk score is. And lastly, just a little bit about Safe Harbor. We are a full-service financial firm. So whether you want to talk to us about, taxes, life insurance, going back. Whether you're talking about any of that type of anything to do from the financial standpoint, I'm there to handle the financial side of it. And then one of the other things is you do have access to a CPA. And one of the other things, and Melissa's going to talk about it here in a second, is we also have the ability to go in and work with you on your Medicare. We have 2 offices, one in Columbus, or actually it's in the Columbus is in Easton. We have another location over in Dublin. Again, all of our meetings are complimentary. All you need to do is go to our website at safeharboroh.com and schedule that with me, and I'll be more than happy to work with you on your financial plan.
Thank you, Corey. Corey's always so informative. And again, look at your chat box to the right, and you'll see information how to reach Corey. Put in your questions there or jot down his information to follow up if you would like to schedule a meeting. With me is Corey's wife, Melissa. And Melissa, you're here because you are a Medicare specialist with the Safe Harbor Retirement Group. What time of year is it? Why is this a great time to talk about Medicare and next steps for people in Medicare?
Well, it's a really important time for anyone who has Medicare because it's Medicare Annual Enrollment. It's coming up. It starts October 15th and runs through December 7th. And this is a time when you need to take a look at your plan, look at the plans coming out for 2021, and make sure that your plan still covers your needs because they do change.
That was what I was going to ask you. If somebody has a plan out there, how critical is it that you look at the new plans that are out? Do changes happen annually?
They do, and sometimes they can be small. You can find that your doctor copay has gone up $5 or gone down $5. That's not a big deal, but Medicare Advantage plans are made up of networks, and your doctor may have dropped out of network, or your facility that you go to could have dropped out of network, and you need to make sure that your doctors and specialists are all going to be covered all next year. Another thing, drugs and your pharmaceutical costs, those change quite a bit. So you don't want to go in January of 2021 to your pharmacy and find out that your prescription is no longer covered, or that it's covered and now it's twice the price. That would be just a really unfortunate surprise. You need to find out now what's happening.
How does the consumer, the person sitting at home, how do they compare plans? It seems like it could be very confusing.
There are currently in Franklin County 44 Medicare Advantage plans and 28 different drug plans, and there could be more next year. So it is confusing. You can go to, starting October 1st, Medicare.gov has a plan finder, and you can go and look at all of the new plans that are coming out for 2021 and check to see. You can look at your plan, see if your doctors are still in network and your prescriptions are still covered and the prices that they are. See if you can find a better plan even. And because it can be so overwhelming, you can talk to someone like a Medicare specialist who, it's a free service, will help you navigate through and see maybe if there is or better options. I've seen people save hundreds of dollars just in prescription costs by changing their Medicare drug plan or getting better benefits, dental, vision. Those are always changing and being added. So there's a lot out there. You just don't assume that the plan that you have is the right plan for you.
Okay. Melissa's advice, that's worth the cost of admission. Just you gotta do that. So again, in your chat box, put down Melissa's name if you would like some contact or follow-up information. And thank you, Melissa, for being here with us.
You've got downsizing questions. We've got experts and the answers. Coming up next, legal.
Welcome back, and I forgot to tell you, Melissa and Corey are offering you a $100 Visa gift card as well, just as a thank you for coming and watching today's program. You're going to watch till the end, and getting close to the end, we're going to tell you to start putting your name in the chat box, and then we are going to randomly pick names and make sure some of you have some spending money going into the new week. So thank you for being with us, and thank you, Melissa, for being with us. Be talking with in the legal category, right? Is that where we are? Okay. We're going to let Melissa hop off here. You know, one of the things that I did last year, which it's one of those things in the back of your head you always want to do, but I actually took the time to do it. I was at a time in my life, I had gone through a divorce, I had remarried, we had 5 kids together, we owned 3 properties together, and a mishmash of stuff, and I said, I need Tim Jarvis. So I want to welcome to DownSize Columbus one of our area's top elder care attorneys. And also with us is Michelle Renda. I'll get to Michelle in a moment. But Tim, you're in a profession that everybody puts off, don't they? I mean, it's always the thing you know you need to do, but people sometimes don't get around to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's such an easy thing to do. Unfortunately, none of us know when our expiration date is going to be, and it's so easy just to put that off for another day. And unfortunately, we don't always get that extra day.
So, what should our viewers today, just the basics, if they're going to come see you, if you were to say, I want to go in your safe box, whatever you have at home, and these are the documents you absolutely must have, what would those be?
So, at a bare minimum, Kathy, what we're looking at would be a will, the financial power of attorney, the healthcare power of attorney, and depending on what someone's wishes are regarding end-of-life care, perhaps a living will. Now again, depending on the situation, they may want other components to the estate plan as well, but at a minimum, those would be the documents.
What if somebody did it 20 years ago or 30 years ago? Is that enough?
Unfortunately, no. Estate planning is not something that you can just do once and then put it on the shelf and never look at it again. I mean, laws change, family dynamics change, your estate plan needs to change with those things.
I can imagine the worst meetings you have are with family members who did not do this. What does that end up being?
So it's really more after someone has lost a loved one, a parent. And if the parent they never got around to doing their plan, it makes it so much more difficult on the loved ones who are left behind, who now have to try to figure out how to clean up this mess.
And speaking of that, you gave a perfect introduction into Michelle Renda. Michelle is a longtime sponsor of DownSize Columbus. You went through an event yourself last year. Sorry, Michelle. Tell me what happened in your life that all this became very relevant.
Yes. So 7 months ago, I lost my husband very suddenly and very unexpectedly, and I'm a prime candidate of someone that Tim just mentioned that always meant to prepare, and you never think the time is now. It's something that you do when you get really old. And unfortunately, your expiration date comes at any time, whether you're old or young. And so I was in the position of having to kind of circle back around and really dig through a lot of our personal things just to kind of get started.
If you don't mind sharing, and it's too late for me to ask, I probably should have asked that off camera. If you don't mind sharing, what was not there? What do you look at and you say, I wish I had this?
Well, for one thing, a will. You know, we always meant to do it when we had the kids, and then we meant to do it when we started the business, and we just didn't do it. And so that was there. Life insurance, you know, through companies we had that, but didn't always stick with the policy. You know, you look back and you think, you know, what starts as $25 a month for a life insurance policy when you're young and it gradually increases, it's the cost of going out to dinner really a month. And to think that, you know, sometimes you cancel that because it's, you know, other expenses come in, but that's a really important thing to have when something like this comes up.
And Tim, coming off that experience, I heard, in fact, at your office when I went to have my work done, one of your attorneys said to me, you know, the fact that you don't have a will doesn't mean there is not a plan. It's just you don't control the plan. So what does that mean in Michelle's case when somebody comes in and there is a death and these papers are not in place? What kind of problems does that cause?
So you're absolutely correct in that if we don't take the action ourselves to create our own estate plan, the state has one for each of us. Now, whether that's going to produce the same end results, probably not, as if, you know, we had done it ourselves. And so the end result is the people who are supposed to receive the, you know, whatever's left from the decedent, they may not be the ones who inherit that, or at least not everything that they should have. So incredibly important that people create their own estate plan and not have to rely on the state's estate plan for you.
The cost of doing it can be expensive. It is not inexpensive, but the cost of not doing it is far more expensive, isn't it?
Exactly. It's one of those, you know, pay me now or pay me later kind of things. And if you wait to pay later, it's a whole lot more expensive in the long run than what it could have been if someone was a little bit more proactive with their planning.
Michelle, let me ask you, talk about some of the things. We have the legal work, but talk about some of the practical things. What were the practical things you weren't prepared for in trying to move through your husband's estate and make plans moving forward?
Right. Well, the first thing I'll say is you don't know what you don't know until you have to start doing it. And one very basic thing is I would recommend is have a listing of all your accounts, sign-ons, passwords, Apple ID just to get into a phone because passwords and things may be stored in there. So, you know, that's one of the first things to do and keep that handy. You know, the other thing is just where's all your money? Where is it? You know, you've got investments over time, things change, you know, just where do you go to find all those things? And kind of keep a list of that and keep it, you know, every time you change your furnace filter once a year, kind of put that on the list of things you do on an annual basis is just go back and check that password list and update that if you can.
Tim, if someone doesn't do that, how long does it take to move through an estate if that paperwork is not in order?
So best case scenario, we're looking at anywhere from maybe 8 to 12 months. It can take a whole lot longer, especially if the information isn't readily available. So just trying to figure out where all the money is actually being held, that in of itself can be a real major undertaking, which I encourage all of our clients and all of our viewers as well. If they're not the one in their family who handles the finances, they at least have to get familiar enough with it so if they are the surviving spouse, they're not trying to recreate all this information from scratch. So much easier if they already have it all in one place, exactly as you said.
Yeah. I call it if I get hit by a bus talk. That's what my husband always said. Okay, Kathy, if I ever get hit by a bus, this is where this is, or this is what we do. And I'll tell you, in selling houses for people, I run into that all the time. I've had at times I can't sell the house because someone thought someone did something, but it's in the wrong name. Or I had a situation where a home was left to 3 daughters, and one of the daughters was in prison, and the decedent, the two good daughters said, "I know my dad did didn't want her to have anything, but it was never changed. So the updating of that stuff that seems so esoterical and out there becomes very practical and very necessary when it's time, when you need it.
Absolutely. And again, I know how easy it is just to put this on the back burner, but you'd be doing your family a huge favor if you just commit to getting all your ducks in a row now, so to speak, so they don't have to try to figure this out for you.
I will also say too, and I often say this when I'm talking to my downsizing homeowners, is that this is really the greatest gift you can give your spouse or your children, is to have a home free of stuff and your affairs in order, that they can simply go to the yellow envelope or the file or whatever, and everything's doing that, and you're shaking your head yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to remember that your children aren't always in their 50s, 60s, 70s. Your children could be in their teens and young adult ages, and it's really a gift, especially for a grieving family.
Well, thank you so much. Again, put your questions for the Jarvis Law Firm into the chat box. And we have this one, I'm not even going to try to lift it, but Tim's colleagues, I was going to give Tim credit for putting this basket together, but I'm not even going to do that. Tim's colleagues, his great staff, have put together this wonderful reading basket. And Tim, you've actually written the books that are in here, correct?
Yeah, there's a total of 4 books in there that myself and my office manager have authored.
Okay, so that will give you a lot of some reading materials, a nice blanket, and some hot chocolate. We're going into fall and winter. You snuggle up, and again, this gift is going out to you. If you stick around with us at the end, put your name in the box there, and you draw your name. We'll make sure that's delivered to you. Tim Jarvis, Jarvis Law Firm, Michelle Renda, and by the way, Michelle is going to be with us. She owns a store that I shouldn't stop in, but I find places there. Tell real quick a little bit about your store.
The name of the store is Trading Places, and we are a furniture consignment store located in Dublin, and we love to sell stuff. So when people have too much stuff, we love to find a new home for it. So we sell on consignment.
Michelle will be with us on our Transition Tuesdays when we start talking about having too much stuff, and she'll talk a little bit about her store. Speaking about that, here is a quick look again at the book that I wrote. I'd love you to get it so that you can start on your journey to get rid of stuff.
Too much stuff? Of course you do. Downsizing expert Kathy Cairo brings you Got Stuff, Get Help. The complete guide to the who to, where to, and how to of getting rid of stuff. This easy-to-use reference book features over 100 pages of Columbus-based businesses and nonprofit organizations. Sell it, donate it, toss it, organize it. It's all here. New York Times best-selling author Peter Walsh offers his decluttering tips, and Kathy shares her insights from years of helping homeowners just like you. Read the stories of local business owners, find value in the things you were going to throw away, and be encouraged to start your own journey to a simpler life. Get your copy today. Got Stuff? Get Help. The book is $30 plus tax and shipping. Order your copy today at DownsizeColumbus.com. Look for the Got Stuff, Get Help link.
You've got downsizing questions. We've got experts and the answers. Coming up next, emotional.
Welcome back, and again, 5 copies of my book going out to you. If you stick around, put your name in our chat box, and I'm going to send you this as a gift. If you want to buy it, go to DownsizeColumbus.com. Look at the Got Stuff, Get Help tab, and you can buy it right there. We'll ship it out to you this week. So thank you again for being with us. You know, when I started working with downsizers, I truly thought your problem was selling your house. And I came in as a realtor to sell your house. But I quickly learned that your problem is getting rid of stuff. Americans have way too much stuff. In fact, in a year of pandemics, I would tell you that too much stuff is pandemic in our culture. And we can make jokes about it, and we can talk about mom and dad and their basement being full and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a true problem. Because what I see happening is that I've often said that there is an age, usually 50 to 60 years old, where if you are fortunate to be in good health, you can still do a lot of this clearing and sorting and all of that yourself. Then we move into 60s and 70s, and it gets a little more difficult, but if you have strong kids or you have resources, you can pay someone, you can still get rid of yourself. But what we see a lot of is you hit that 70 and up, and now you're just not able to do it anymore. Many times you're not even aware of the stuff you have, and unfortunately, your problem becomes the problem of your kids when you're gone, or it becomes the problem of whoever's responsible for taking care of that, and we don't want that. So I want to talk a little bit about your stuff and getting rid of it. The downsize dilemma, what to do with all of our stuff, and why is it so hard? I love this. This was sent to me this week, and I want those of you at home to repeat this to yourselves. I live in a home, not a storage unit. I live in a home, not a storage unit. Again, we can laugh about it, but for many of us, that's true. In fact, if we look at some of the facts about stuff in our nation, I don't know who went around and counted, but they tell us that there are 300,000 items in the average American home. Items, by the way, I'll point out to you, need to be moved when you sell your home. Our homes have tripled in size since 1970. 25% of Americans with a garage don't use it because it's full of stuff. 1 in 10 Americans rent a storage facility for their overflow of stuff. And in 1937, I want you at home to mentally look in your own closet and say, how many pairs of shoes do you have? In 1937, the average woman had 3 pairs of shoes. What they tell us now is that the average woman is nearing 40 pairs of shoes, and on average, you regularly wear only 5 pairs. That tells me you have too much stuff. We often use the guideline that in purging stuff, you want to allow 1 full week of purging for every year you've lived in your home, and for some of you, even that's not enough. Peter Walsh, one of my good friends, and he is actually one of the contributors to my book here. Some of you came to our event last year where we bought Peter Walsh. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He's the host of the TLC program Clean Sweep. And a quote from him, he says, "You can't move forward because of your stuff if you're stuck in the past." So again, we want you to get rid of stuff. And probably the best reason to get rid of stuff is right here. If you're not going to do it, who's going to do it? One of the greatest gifts you can give your adult children, siblings, spouse, or friends is home and estate in order. I'm showing you these pictures with the permission of the gentleman that gave them to me. This was one of my clients who went to visit his sister-in-law in Michigan. And coming home back to Ohio, they got a phone call that the sister-in-law had gone into the hospital in a critical condition. So the sister-in-law ended up never coming out of the hospital, died 7 days later. They turned the car around, went to take care of her. He took these pictures of his sister-in-law's house. Now, that sister-in-law who had just entertained them for the weekend did not intend on dying on Wednesday. That sister-in-law didn't intend on anyone having to come up and clean up the mess that she had left in her home. None of us do. And this is not to shame or embarrass anybody, but it is to say that if you don't do it, somebody's going to have to do it. This client of mine said it took them 1.5 years, 18 months of going back and forth to Michigan to clear his sister-in-law's home, get stuff sold and donated and given away just so they could sell the house. Thousands of dollars and time and hours spent clearing a home because someone did not prepare for that and unexpectedly died, and now that was left for someone else to do. We don't want that. Why is it so hard? It's hard because it's physically hard, it's mentally hard, and it's emotionally hard. Downsizing is physically hard. Every item in your home, wherever you're sitting right now, I want you to look around the room, and everything you're looking at has to be packed up and moved. It's got to be taken out of there. And then multiply that by the rooms in your home, in your basement, in your crawl space, and all of that. It has to be moved, and that's physically hard. It's mentally hard. Every item in your home has to be moved or sold or given away or thrown away. The decisions are numerous. They might feel endless, and you might feel inadequate to make them. It's extremely hard. It's exhausting mentally to go through everything in your house and to determine what you're going to do with it. It is so hard that most people never do it. They just never start. And we don't want that. We want you to start. And of course, downsizing is emotionally hard. We know you love your stuff. That's the reason you haven't done it already. We know you're attached to a lot of your things. We know that's the reason. Giving away your child's baby stuff, or giving away some of the artwork that was given to you with their children, or getting rid of some of the things that are so precious to you, make you feel like my life is ending, or I'm dishonoring the person that gave it to me. So what do? You hold on to it. So again, this quote, home represents a sacred chapter of someone's life. People don't want to let go of the time and the memories. So part of what we do is help you to understand that your memories go with you. All that you're getting is time to enjoy with the people and the relationships when you have freed yourself of stuff. So the first thing you have to do is you do have to decide that the future is good, that the best part of your life is ahead of you, that there is a next chapter. Downsizing can create a life and lifestyle that allows you the freedom to do things you always wanted to do, to meet new friends, spend time on fulfilling projects, and save money. Those things in your house cost you a lot of money. Those things in your house cost you a lot of stress. Virtually everyone I've ever met who has any kind of a hoarding issue, and I don't even like to call it that because people don't want to label themselves hoarders, but if you have more stuff than you need, every person I've ever met that has that issue in their homes lives in a stressful situation and often depressed, because that is overwhelming to have all that stuff and to feel like you have no answer to get rid of it. So where do you start? You start right here. This is a good step, coming to DownSize Columbus. Don't put it off. Delay often means never. If you don't start, none of us are spring chickens anymore. We don't have a lot of years ahead of us, and if you don't start now, it is going to be somebody else's problem. Give yourself a reasonable deadline. Don't do it the way we treat our gym memberships, where we're going to jump in and exercise 7 days a week. Give yourself a room at a time, or an hour at a time, that you're going to begin to declutter. Give yourself a reasonable plan. We're going to have some guests here coming up that are going to help you with that reasonable plan. And do something every day. Every day, get up knowing you're going to put your your head on a pillow tonight, and you're going to have less in your house than you did the day before. And not in your garage and not in your basement. Out of the house. You're taking it out of the house, and you're going to get rid of it. Again, my book I hope will be very helpful to you. That's the reason I put the book together, so that you don't have to scratch your head. And frankly, I'm giving you no excuses here. You don't have any excuse for not getting rid of stuff, because I'm giving you hundreds of resources who want to buy your stuff, who want to, that you may want to donate to, or junk, or throw away. So again, we do understand the issue that you have. We do understand that it's hard. That's the reason we're here, and we're here to walk you through that process. I want to introduce to you a man who knows very well the process of getting rid of stuff. Chris Davis is here from Auction, Ohio. Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
To the program today. Tell us, you've been in the business a long time. Can you just speak frankly to our audience and say, how much stuff do people have?
How much stuff do people have? I think probably the right answer to that is, I think, generational, right? So we all have more than we need. We have all of these opportunities to bring product into our houses, Christmas and birthdays, but we have no vehicle to get rid of that stuff, right? So it accumulates, and quite honestly, here's what we do. We open the basement door, we look in the basement, and we say, listen, it's easier to die here. I'll just close the door back, right? Because I don't have to deal with what's there. Yeah. So we're certainly going to talk about that. I'm going to have you watch a real quick video about our story and who we are, and then we're going to talk a little bit about process.
I grew up in the auction business, in a family-run business. Probably the greatest gift that I took from that was not learning the auction business, but a work ethic. And I think that work ethic for us today is probably our greatest strong point. We've built a company around that. Auction Ohio was founded in 1997 in Columbus, Ohio. At that time in the auction world, we began to see the differences and the changes, and we decided that this is how we're going to do it, and this is how it's going to be better. In a live auction format, the way that we used to do it, if we were to expect a buyer to show up at an auction, to park 3 or 4 blocks away, to walk to the auction, and then look at those things they wanted to buy, and maybe they would see the table they were interested in, and upon looking at that table, decided they wanted to try to buy it, but it didn't sell until later in the auction, and maybe that was 3 or 4 in the afternoon, so they've arrived at 9 in the morning and stood around, and it's time for the table to sell. It's time for their moment of glory, and someone outbids them on the table, pays more than they're willing to pay. They leave in frustration, drive all the way back home, and at about 6 in the evening, sitting around the dinner table, the conversation is a little like this: we're not doing that again. And that's the world we live in today. The first event that happened in our world about 5 years ago was we had a company that came to us and needed to sell some equipment. And prior to that, we had conducted many auctions in a live and an online format simultaneous. We had never done an auction that was just online bidding only. And so my comment to the owner was, I'll be happy to do that. I don't think it's going to be a very good outcome. And much to our surprise, when that auction was concluded, the prices were very, very strong. The experience was very, very favorable. It was very good for the buyers as well as the seller. And so we decided at that point that there's a reason to look at moving into an online auction format only. Things are changing and they're changing fast, and as a result, we've embraced that and we found a better way to be able to sell things. Generation before, when your grandmother bought the dining room suit and she saved nickels and pennies and dimes, and when she saved up enough money, she went out and bought the dining room suit and she took it home and she treasured it. Every experience in life and family in that generation happened around that dining room table. Every memory that she had, every family sat down for dinner. That doesn't happen today, but that's what did used to happen. The next generation says it's just a dining room table. It's okay. I'm going to put it on Craigslist, or I'm going to put it on eBay, or I'm going to donate and give it away. I don't care. I'm just done with that. I'm finished with the table. With that challenge of what do I do with all of these things that are important to me, that have been my life? How do I feel better about selling those things? And opening up the world as the marketplace is a better way. And the world is the marketplace today, and technology has made that possible. We have the ability in all of our auctions that we do today to have somewhere between 2,000 to 5,000 unique IP addresses that visit that auction. My question to a seller would be, how can you bring that many buyers into your home to look at your possessions? We don't worry about weather. We don't worry about the time that the auction takes place. It's a better time because of evening times and the ability for buyers to bid at any time. It is altogether a better experience for the seller as much as it is for the buyer. Whether you are buying or selling, we are your trusted point of contact. AO Auctions is a one-of-a-kind auction experience.
Thank you for watching that video, and I think we can all attest to the fact that things have changed. Amazon itself has rewritten the rules. And so we used to use the tagline, it was sell online and sell to the world. Well, the truth is, no one in Texas or California wants your TV or your washer or your dryer. And so a lot of those things that we sell today aren't necessarily collectible, and that's the value to the auction process. In that we can sell not just those collectibles, we can sell everything. And it's not really today that we're selling to the world, it's that we're making it convenient. Because That's the expectation that's now created. And so Amazon rewrote the rules. You've got to make it easy and convenient. And then you also have to have some delivery options available there. So you've got to make that somewhat at ease for the consumer as well. So there's 1,000 ways to get rid of your things. So what I'm going to talk to you about in process, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. The first thing that's going to happen if you call us or contact us is we're going to send out a sales rep, and that sales rep is going to, with you, walk through your home and then talk about what might be most appropriate for the things that you have, okay? You can do yard sales and garage sales and Craigslist, and there's this thing called Facebook Marketplace that's kind of birthed recently, and it does well. But the idea is this: whatever you do, do something. Don't do nothing. So the online side, where we sit today in our marketplace, we do somewhere between 125 and 150 auctions every month. About 85,000 bidders. We sell through to successful bidders, about 15,000 of those every 180 days that have a buying experience. And so the marketplace is broader because it's more convenient to the consumer. When we talk about whether we can do it at your place or ours or the process in this conversation, and that's the next part of the conversation, we literally can come into your home. You can show us what you want to sell. We're going to photograph and describe those things. We're going to put them online. We're going to let the marketplace participate and bid on all of those things that you have, whatever their desires might happen to be. We're not going to tell them where all of your things are. So there's no reason to put a sign in the yard. There's no reason to post the address. So we're going to insulate you from any risk in that you're, again, telling the world where all of those things are. It's going to take about 14 days start to finish in the process. After that auction has ended, we will be there at your home, and we will meet those buyers who will get a notice right prior to the pickup with the exact location. But we manage that entire process. So we're there, okay? We're going to make sure that that's taken care of. They get exactly what they bought. Movers are available. You might not want to let a consumer you don't know into the house to pick up a freezer out of the basement and hit every stair step on the way up and the handrails and the door jams and the floor on the way out. So some things that we do manage some part of that process. That's the best approach when it's something that you're open to do emotionally. However, we move more things today than ever before to our warehouses, and we do the same process there. The reason that I think that's better is that it removes those things from your home, and you're not there while those things are being processed. You're not there for the experience of those buyers picking those things up, because sometimes that can be more than you want to really deal with or bear. So in the process of at our warehouse, you can bring it to us. You can call Steve at 2 Men in a Truck. We have you fill it. We sell it trailers. We'll drop and you can fill those as well. But any way we can get it there, the process is easier, cleaner, if that becomes something more desirable to you. Again, the first step of the process, sales rep's going to come out, walk through with you, help you make some decisions about which way is most appropriate. Thank you for your time. Wish you the best the rest of your afternoon this Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That's great. Chris is a great partner with Downsize Columbus, and the auction method, I tell you, is just the way to go to clear a part of the house. Our next guest on Downsize Columbus is Libby Patrick with Blue Robin Downsizing. Before I talk to Libby, I want to get you to get a quick look at what Libby does to help our clients.
When I called you, that first call, I felt relief. But when you walked through the door, I knew relief was there, and it was a monkey off my back. I felt so much better talking to you and knowing that I was going to be able to resume my life.
Yay!
Libby came in, she spoke with us, she lived up to our expectations, and it was just fabulous. I would recommend Libby and Blue Robin to anybody who's moving.
And it just made our life and the move and everything outstanding.
Right.
No pressure, no...
Yeah, it just was perfect.
Blue Robin Downsizing is primarily to help our senior population who they need to move from their big house to a smaller space, or just to get rid of some clutter and things they don't need anymore. They're very overwhelmed and they can't do it by themselves. There's a need there and we want to help them.
And with me is Libby Patrick. So Libby, welcome.
Thank you.
Why did you start Blue Robin Downsizing? Let me ask you in a not as nice way, what on earth made you want to go into people's houses and clean up their stuff?
I think it's in my DNA. I've done it for so long where I organize space and stuff, and people were always calling me, and eventually someone said, you need to do this. So we did rebrand this year. We love it, and it makes it easier for people to find us.
Well, let me start by asking you to tell our viewers today, what exactly do you do? You're not a moving company, so you'll let two men in a truck handle that part, but what do you do?
We are different than a moving company, and I say it's because we're helping people who can't move. They have to get rid of some stuff. They've got to downsize the content before they can move. So meeting with them, coming up with a plan, and then pulling in their driveway with my box truck and all the supplies, because yes, we do sort, pack, unpack, help them settle in. But before move day can happen, we are coaching, mentoring, counseling on the breakup process. I feel like that is why Blue Robin's in business. Is my main role when I walk in the door and I see their faces and they're so stressed out, is to bring in a calmness to the chaos. And honestly, I've kind of branded the fact that we have a culture of gentle kindness that I want to bring in there because people have already gone through enough. They're stressed out enough. They're hurt enough. You've talked about it briefly, Kathy, and it's age, health, it's divorce sometimes, a death, and some people are going through all of that at the same time. So you talk about stress and emotions. A house full of stuff is a house full of emotions.
We've got some pictures of some work you've done for some. The one with the closet, and there you go, the closet and then the clean out.
It actually is the same house. This was where a client passed away and the family came and took what they wanted, and then the estate planning attorney actually called me. So you have everything left behind in a place that cannot be sold until it looks fabulous. So we come in, we do that sorting, we donate what we can, we bag up what we cannot donate, and then we actually brought in people to paint, do new carpet, and it looked fantastic when we were done. The next picture shows that, and it sold in 3 days.
Wow. And then again, here, this is very typical. You don't have to be a hoarder to have a lot of stuff, right, to get rid of.
No, you don't, because what's happening behind the downsizing door is the age, health issues, and things that make this all get snowballing. And this person was just ill, and they was not planning on passing away, and it happened. We help people mostly because it's a breakup. I do say it's similar to a divorce because you are breaking up with a life that you've always known, you've always loved. Now, you know, who wants to get older and not be able to stay in your home and keep your things that you love? So part of what Blue Robin does, I walk in the door, it's the coaching on the breakup, the grief, it's a change, and nobody likes change. So we can provide the Cadillac service, I call it, because we do pack, unpack, help you settle in. We've even made the beds, put your toothbrush out, and people love it. But that is a process. We got to get in there and deal with the emotions first.
Tell me about that first meeting. What are you going to do? Somebody calls you, says, I need your help. What's that first meeting?
Walking in and just bringing calmness to them and saying, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed of this, let's talk about it. I know it didn't happen overnight, it's not going to go away overnight. And I go through and I can tell by looking at the content in the home, how many people I'm going to need on my team, how many truckloads, and how much time it's going to take. Now that's the tricky one because time is what we give our clients and they need it. They might want to touch everything, look at everything, and go room to room, and it really slows down. So I try to give an estimate before I get started, but if it needs to change up, I let them know that ahead of time.
You can reach Libby if you look in your chat bar there. Her contact information is coming through. And also if you want to, if you have questions for Libby, just give her a call and she will be there available to you to kind of tell you what she does and to make an appointment for you. Libby, you have a gift. Your
My gift
your door prize
is the Lowe's card, and I'm hoping you don't buy it for more stuff. I really want you to use it for supplies like bags and boxes to help you downsize. And before I go, I want to say, Kathy, that to the viewers, please don't wait too long. The more you wait, the matters of it get worse. And so there is light at the end of the tunnel, and call us if you need help.
Let me, before we let you go, because I really want to make sure our audience does know this. You do understand, don't you? I mean, I know I could call anybody who knows how to put stuff in a box, pack it up and put it on a truck. But what you bring extra is what do you bring to it?
Well, I say I have a double portion of empathy, and when I walk in, I actually do feel what's going on in that home. A lot of the house is full of emotions. I have actually been there where I needed to do my whole house and I didn't have any help. So I do understand. I know how it feels, and it doesn't go away overnight, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes you have to tear down the barn to see the moon.
Yeah.
And I read that and I thought that's exactly right. It looks like it can't be done, but if you do it, you'll see the moon.
Well, and I tell, this just happened to me this week. What happens to me, Libby, before I call you, is someone will call me and they'll say, Kathy, we need to sell our house. And I'll say, okay, are you ready to do that? Yes. We just need you to walk through and kind of tell us how to get it ready. Well, when I walk through, what I find is they really don't see their house anymore. They don't see the stuff. And I had an experience this last week where I walked through the home, and you know, all of you have seen that television program Hoarders. And I would say there are absolutely hoarders in Central Ohio, but this wasn't that. But it is what I coined a term a few years ago that I called functional hoarding. And functional hoarding meant that, yes, you have too much stuff, but you're still able to function within it. And this home I went into last week was a functional hoarder. And I actually went to her and said, I picked up, you'll laugh at this because I'm sure you see it all the time, exercise videos from the 1980s. Like, I don't even think there's machines to play them anymore. No. And I asked her, I said, I will buy these from you for $1 a piece. And while I have them in my hand, she's reaching for them, like she's afraid I'm going to take them. Now, she's my age. She's never going to use those videos, but you do that on a daily basis, right? Go through that.
Yeah, you really have to talk them through the letting go and the reality of they're not going to use it. And so let's try to figure out a new home for it.
Great. Libby, thanks for being with us. Blue Robin Downsizing. Got questions for Libby or want her to contact you? Put your name in the chat box. And then also, Libby's got the Lowe's gift card, $100. Now, you cannot go buy stuff. That's to buy boxes and packing equipment.
Get rid of stuff.
To get rid of stuff. And we'll give that to you at the end of the show. So stick with us, and we'll be right back after this.
You've got downsizing questions. We've got experts and the answers. Coming up next, medical.
Welcome back. We're coming to the end of our program here, but one of my favorite people is with me. Tiffany Affolter is the marketing director for National Church Residences. Now, if you live in Central Ohio, you have driven by a National Church Residences facility. You may not have known it, but you have homes and buildings and facilities all over Central Ohio, don't you?
Yes, we have about 25 here in Central Ohio, and we are in 28 different states.
Well, I'm going to let Tiffany talk to you in this medical category. We're talking about how you downsize, how you age in place, and what decisions will you be making as you look for that residence or where you're going to live in your retirement years. Here's Tiffany.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone. First, I want to start off with showing you a quick video about National Church Residences.
There's a perfect storm of an increasing population of seniors and the availability of affordable housing.
National Church Residences has a dedicated and proven track record in providing housing options, healthcare, and supportive services to more than 42,000 seniors. Originating from a Christian commitment of service, our mission is to provide high-quality care, support, and residential communities for all seniors. With 340 communities in 28 states and Puerto Rico, National Church Residences is the nation's largest not-for-profit provider of affordable senior housing and the largest employer of service coordinators. Guided by our core values, our promise is to provide excellence in all we do in order to transform lives. At National Church Residences, we have a vision of advancing better living for all seniors to live healthier and more satisfying lives, enabling them to remain home for life. Learn more about us at nationalchurchresidences.org. There's a perfect
So as you can see, there's a lot of different things to learn from National Church Residences, but one thing we know that's very hard is navigating through our world. And you don't really think about it until that time comes where you have an episode or some need that you have to figure it out. And you might be just as confused as we are. So I'm going to go through some information that just describes our different types of services that we can offer and support when you become a senior and are need a little bit more help. So here's what you need to know. There's a lot of different types of senior housing and services out there. They start with a continuing care retirement community. Then you can go into independent living, assisted and memory care, skilled nursing, affordable housing, and then home and community services. I'm going to give you a brief description on all of these as we go through. So first, the continuing care retirement community. This is an actual picture of one of our locations here in Central Ohio. This is First Community Village, which is in Upper Arlington. The next one we have is called Inniswood Village. If you're familiar with the Westerville area, we recently just opened this one in 2016, and it is also defined as a continuum of care. So now you're probably wondering, well, what is a continuum of care? We abbreviate it as a CCRC. What that stands for is a continuum of living that may include 2 or more services. So basically, you're going to be transitioning if you need support in the future from one level to another, and that would therefore define it as a continuum of care. Residents may transition to another level without having to relocate. Many of our buildings are connected, or some of them have just different buildings on the same location. And there's levels of care that can be defined in a little bit more of our conversation. So also a continuum of care offers at least, as I said, 2 levels of care. It has a minimum age of normally 62. We do have a few campuses that are 55 and older, and they offer full services. So you can get a full service of dining options, housekeeping, transportation, planned events and maintenance, repairs, utilities, and much, much more. So it's really important to get out there and start looking so you know in advance what your next step is for your next chapter when you start to downsize. They also have a variety of common areas. Some vary from restaurants, libraries, fitness rooms, and pools. So then next we're going to talk briefly about a senior apartment building. So this is Walnut Trace. This is a new building if you're in Gahanna that we are in the process of building right now off of Old Ridenhour Road. It'll be opening in the spring of 2021, but it is just a freestanding independent living community of just apartments. So you're probably wondering, well, what does that mean? So a senior apartment independent living, it's kind of the same as a continuum of care, but it might just be one building that features 62 and older apartments. It'll have various services, meal plans and transportation can be included. You can also get clubhouses, fitness centers. It just really depends on what you're looking for. So I can't encourage you enough to get out there and really take tours and learn all about the different beautiful campuses that are available. So the 2 types of costs that go into the continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs, you can have an entry fee community, so they may refer to it as a life lease or a buy-in. Those can range from $50,000 up to $550,000 or even more. And with that, you pay a portion of it and it can be refunded. Again, it's really important to go out and look and really learn about these types of options. But you would pay a monthly fee on top of that, then anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. But if you don't like that route and you want to save that money and put it in an investment or do something else with it, you can try the market rate rental. This is a market rate rental, is very popular. It's coming. Cost is going to be month to month. There's normally no buy-in, and your fees range from $1,000 to $4,500. Again, it really just depends on that campus that you go out and choose. So now a lot of people get confused when they think assisted living. Very commonly we'll hear from people that say, my mom needs assisted living. And we'll say, why? Well, she needs help. We want you to define that help a little bit better for us. A lot of times she might need just an independent apartment building that has some services. Where she doesn't have to do housekeeping or cleaning. So it really depends on the situation, and it's so important to get out there and talk to people that you've heard from today, just like experts in the field that can really recommend. But when you're looking for an assisted living, I always say you're downsizing in space and upsizing in services. You're going to get 3 meals a day. You're going to have 24-hour nurses and aides available, assistance with activities of daily living. So if you do need help with bathing, dressing, eating, taking your medication, maybe assisted living would be something down the road for you to consider. One thing to remember is the cost of it. I do have it on the slide here. It starts out at $4,900 and goes up from there. So sometimes that's a sticker shock, but it's again really important to get out there and look at communities that have the different levels of care available. So for your future, if you ever need it, you have a plan in place. And then on top of that, they charge you a level of care fee. That normally would be based on the needs of an individual person. One other thing that's included in assisted living is memory care. That is actually a part of the license in assisted living, but it's for those individuals that might have some memory impairment or dementia or sometimes Alzheimer's. And it's licensed under the same window. So you're going to see about the same costs. It's just you're going to be in a special place or a specialized unit that is secure and safe for your loved one. This is a picture of our Tranquility Garden. It's our new Harmony Trace community. It was recently renamed. It used to be called Mill Run, and now it has taken on the name of Harmony Trace in Hilliard, Ohio. So finally, I'm going to get to skilled nursing. Skilled nursing is actually short-term stays. This is something if you end up going into the hospital for a planned surgery, or if maybe you have a stroke or an illness and you can't return home, a lot of times you're going to go into a nursing home. It's really important to get out there and have that nursing home of choice in place. You never know when something's going to happen. You never can plan. So planning ahead and having that place picked is so important. That way you know they take your insurance and that they can care for you and they're what you want. And your son or daughter or family is not running around trying to find something last minute. Most of the time the nursing homes are paid by Medicare and Medicaid. And if you would have to pay out of pocket to become a permanent resident, you're looking at a cost of anywhere from about $9,000 to $11,000 a month. So again, it's really important to plan out your financial plan for in case this need ever comes around. And then as we talked, we do offer affordable housing. If you're interested to learn more about our affordable housing, I would highly recommend checking out our website. Again, affordable housing is based on your income. So we have a variety of different properties here in Central Ohio and all over the United States that you can take a look at, but the best way to do that is going through our navigation system. And they do it based on your income. And then finally, if you don't really want to move yet, but you just need some extra help, we offer home and community services. So what that means is we can offer support to you in your home. Our whole mission is to keep you home for life, wherever you think that home might be. So home and community services can provide you with home care options through private duty, which is non-medical if you want someone to take you to the grocery or just clean your house. Or you can also do the skilled angle, which is getting someone there to help you with therapy services or medication. We also have a few adult day care centers here in Central Ohio. And again, I can't encourage you enough to check out our website. Champion Integrational Center is actually one of our adult day centers that we integrate with a daycare. It's located right off of the campus of Ohio State. Here's our 25 locations. And just some simple facts. 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day, as you already know. So 1 in 10, they may not have enough in that nest egg, or 58% continue to work. So it's just really important to start thinking ahead and getting a plan in place for your next chapter in your life. And this is something I just came across, a bucket full of dreams. I think it's really important to make that list of where you want to be and what you want to do. Should you downsize? Well, you might want to if you want to try to do some of these wonderful things that AARP provided. Think of what you could do. Dream big. Go to that vacation place that you haven't been able to go to, and let the fun begin. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Tiffany. Any questions for Tiffany? Put your name, email address in the chat box, and we'll make sure that Tiffany gets a hold of you. And Tiffany's offering a $100 gift card as well. For those of you who are here with us at the end of the program, which is coming up very shortly, we're going to ask you to start putting your name in there so you are in the drawing for all the gifts we've talked about in the last couple of hours. With me again is Jane Arthur Roslovic, and I asked you to come back because I know that when you built your rental communities, you put a lot of research and education into making them accessible to seniors. What does it mean to age in place? That's sort of a buzzword we hear a lot.
You know, we've really found that people are looking to remain as independent as they can for as long as they can. And they want to live in a barrier-free, really safe and comfortable area at home as they get older. And so that really is the heart of what aging in place is about.
People who think, well, that just means buying a ranch-style home. Is that enough anymore?
No, it really isn't. A lot of the ranches were built in the 50s and 60s, and so they didn't take in consideration stepping in out of your car into your home. There are usually a couple steps there, or there might be the washer and dryer is still in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
The bedroom might be on the same floor as the dining room and the kitchen, in the living room, and sometimes they're even sunken living rooms, or they only have a bathtub with a shower. And so getting in the bathtub as you age is just not.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. No, it is dangerous.
It is.
And so really, thinking about all of those when you're looking at a ranch, the remodel on a ranch is something you really have to take into consideration.
And you were talking about let's go back to something as simple as grab bars, which we see in the bathrooms. Not all bathrooms have the supports even for grab bars.
Right.
And even most showers have a lip of about that big, 4 inches. Even that can be difficult for someone and make it dangerous to use that shower.
Right. Well, the universal design elements for that aren't ADA, but it's almost like ADA light, which lever door handles you need to have as you're aging in place, not the knob handles. Lots of task lighting. You can put task lighting in, but natural lighting is also really, really helpful as you age. Again, 0 steps.
What about flooring? I know a trip hazard. Area rugs become a trip hazard?
Absolutely, and there are really nice products out there that are slip-resistant flooring, and that's become very popular. Wide hallways are also very important to people, and then the elevated outlets. People don't want to bend as far over anymore to put their sweeper plug in, and so these little things really, as you age, you don't realize what a problem that they can become. And again, making sure that when you're remodeling something like a ranch, you want to have all those things into consideration.
Is there a list anywhere? Is there a list?
Universal design elements.
Okay.
And what we have through the BIA in Columbus, which is again part of the NAHB, CAP certified, which is a certified aging in place specialist. And people might want to refer to that if they're remodeling their home, or even if they're looking at a new home, to better understand what to look for when they're aging in place. They can help evaluate situations and even provide costs to changes.
So in terms of Google, universal design elements is what they want to look at.
And certified aging in place specialist.
Okay, certified aging in place
through the
specialist.
BIA and NAHB.
Okay, well, you are just a pleasure to have you here today, Jane.
It's delightful, always with you, Kathy.
And I again want to invite you to visit the Trepless communities. They're phenomenal, and you'll find your people there. And just enjoy the neighborhoods and all the amenities they have. Put your name in the chat box. Jane will be glad to follow up with you and set up a tour for you when you come. So we're getting ready to close the program here, and we'll be right back. See that wonderful crowd? That's what we usually do. We do live events a couple times a year. The Kathy Cairo Group has been the proud sponsor of DownSize Columbus since 2013. Very hopeful to get back to live events next year, but I'm just so excited for those of you who have stuck around with us on this program, and I know you did it because you love me and you want the door prizes. So we've got those coming up. I want you to jot down downsizecolumbus.com. We're a resource 24/7, 365 days a year. All of the guests that you've seen on the program today, you can go to downsizecolumbus.com, click on their pretty faces, and you'll get right to their websites as well. I want to tell you about a couple classes we've got coming up. We know that in this kind of setting, we have not allowed for questions. It's already been a long program, and we didn't want to make it longer. But what we do have are classes called Transition Tuesdays. They are coming up. They're still virtual, and the first one is this Tuesday, the 22nd. We're going to be doing Got Stuff, Get Help. I'll be back. Chris will be back. Michelle's here. Libby will be there. We have a lot of resources that'll be talking to you about how to get rid of all your stuff and places to go. October 6th, we're going to be talking about the legal element of downsizing. We'll have Tim Jarvis's team back. We'll be talking about some of the practical things you can do to be prepared legally. October 20th, what's my home worth? Excuse me, I'll be talking about the value of your home and specifically where you live, and again, having some interaction with you. And finally, financial. I don't need $1 million, but I need enough. So again, those are all classes coming up. Excuse me. I've been talking for 2 hours. Do you need an in-home evaluation? I'm here for that. Just enter the word home in the chat box. Thanks, Mary. Mary got me some water here. Enter home in the chat box, along with your email address and phone number, or you can call Brandon. Brandon is our customer care coordinator. He'll make sure that you have your appointment set up and would love to walk through the home. It's at no cost to you. We'll come walk through the home and get your plan started. We would love you to take a survey. It's in the chat box now. If you click on that, a survey will come up. We would love to hear what you think about our program. This is the first time we've done the program virtually. It's been a lot of work from some talented people, but we do it for you, and we want to hear what you think about it. So if you would, it's a very short survey. I personally hate long surveys, and I created this one with me in mind. So it's very, very short survey, but we want to hear what you like, didn't like, what you'd like to see in future programs. And then also in that survey, there's a place to click if you would like to contact any of our guests today. They will all be there. So all you have to do when the show is over, click on the link in your chat box, and that will take you directly to the survey. We're so thrilled to have you. We also invite you to go to facebook.com and go to Downsize Columbus. Join our Facebook family. You'll keep in touch with us and us with you. And we'll be thrilled to see you at future events. Thanks again for coming to Downsize Columbus.